What's going on, guys? Patch here, 1878 Casuals. It's a lovely Monday out here in Los Angeles. Got a couple things to talk about. A couple things. Glazers deal, when the hell are they going to sell? Speaking of selling, we got some outgoings for the squad, some potential incomings, one of which is Napoli defender Min Jae. Several reports saying that that's done. Make of that what you will. And then obviously our top four battle, big week coming up for us. Start with that, top four battle. We are needing 1 point to secure top four. Now, whether that comes at the expense of Chelsea or Fulham, who knows? Preferably both. I mean, obviously Chelsea are playing not very well this season. I think they're sitting 12th in the league right now after spending $500 million on players. Reports are that they've put an $80 million bid in for Dusan Vlahovic, I think I pronounced his name correctly, from Juventus, the striker from Juventus, 22-year-old, which we are also reportedly in for. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, top four battle. We got Chelsea on Thursday, Fulham on Sunday for our last game of the season. We need 1 point from those two games to secure top four and to keep the Scousers out of the top four race, and that's providing that they win their last game, which they're playing a relegated Southampton, so can't personally see them losing that, but stranger things have happened, I suppose. So 1 point out of our last two games. I think, you don't want to speak too soon, you don't want to jinx it, but feeling pretty good about our top four chances, so that's fantastic. And then obviously going into the summer, the lure of Champions League football is going to do a lot to bring in some more talented players to the squad, which segues us to the scumbag Glazers, who are still reluctant to sell. And now the reports are that Sheikh Jassim, if he doesn't win the bid for United, is going to try to buy West Ham. So, who the hell knows what's going on here? We still don't know if the Glazers are going to sell. We don't know if Ratcliffe is going to be the one that they're going to choose. We don't know if this, 11th hour improved bid from Jassim is going to be enough to get the Glazers to say, you know what, let's cut our losses and get out of here. I just read a report this morning that Avram Glazer, who attended the FA Cup game, the Carabao game, and then the women's game, spent over £500,000 on private jets to get there and used United's money to do so. It's just absurd at this point. I mean, I think that they're just trying to rinse every last little dime they can out before they leave. I mean, that's the hope, is that they will. I don't know if they have any sense, so I don't know if there's any senses for them to come to. I think they truly don't give a shit, and are just trying to squeeze United out for every last dime that they can before they finally fuck off, hopefully after 18 years of destruction and blood-sucking out of this football club. But fingers crossed, we hope for the best, that they will fuck off soon enough, and we will be on the up from there. In terms of squad outgoings and coming-ins, I think Martial, Phil Jones, Maguire, Twanzebe, Bailly, Tellez, I think those guys are all set to leave. I know Phil Jones is going to leave at the end of the season. We've already seen his letter to the fans. I think Maguire's good as gone. I think Twanzebe's going to go. Bailly, Tellez, and then the big one obviously is Martial. I mean, he's been here 7 years now. Has not played very much. And so obviously we're due for a new striker. We've talked about this a lot on the channel, and lots of people on the other channels have talked about it. So the big question is, who are we going to go for? What's our transfer budget going to be like? Are we going to have a transfer budget because the Glazers are taking so long on this goddamn deal? Is it going to be sorted? Are we going to have funds allocated for summer to improve the squad in the way that Ten Hag is wanting? I mean, he's obviously made massive strides in terms of the squad, revitalizing some players again, like we've talked about. Delo and Wan-Bissaka in particular are the standouts, at least for me this season. Obviously, Rashford having a season to remember. He's been a little off it lately, but he's also been a little sick, a little injured these past couple weeks. Small little drop in form, but it's not to worry. Rashford will be back. Also talks about what we do with Sancho. Do we give him another season with Ten Hag? I mean, Sancho's had three different gaffers since he's been at United. He hasn't had the consistency of coaching. I mean, he's had one full season with Ten Hag. A lot would argue he's not been quite up to the races. He's not the player that was at Dortmund. He's not the player that we bought. So there's been a little dip in form, but I think if there's anybody right now that can get the best out of Sancho, it's Ten Hag. So maybe he just needs another season and we see what happens. And if he doesn't produce this next season, then we'll have to think about moving him on. The rumor is $100 million budget already allocated for the summer, but if we can sell more players, that budget will increase. So we'll have to see what happens there. I'm optimistic because, again, I think if ultimately Ten Hag is the one with final say in who we bring in and who goes, and he made that clear in his contract before he signed to become the gaffer that he wanted final say with the transfers, and he's been fantastic with his transfers so far, and so one would assume that he will continue to be. This first potential signing of Min Jae from Napoli, who just helped guide them to their first Scudetto in 30-something years, that's a good sign. We get a center back out because Harry Maguire's going to go. Get a midfielder, a right back, a striker. I think the striker needs to be the focus. I think we all know and can agree on that because we've been lacking goals this season. We could have been much more comfortable in this top four race had we had a proper striker. Obviously, Weghorst didn't work out. I don't see him staying. So we're going to have to figure that out. There's not a lot, but there's a handful of players on the short list for our striker options. But, let's say that we go for Min Jae, we spend $50 million out of our $100 million that were allocated. We ain't getting a 20-goal-a-season striker for $50 million. So, Harry Kane's going to cost $100 million if we end up going for Harry Kane. Gonçalo Ramos is going to cost upwards of $50 million. Vlahovic already, if Chelsea are putting in an $80 million bid for that kid, that's already out of our, possible budget. So we just kind of have to wait and see what happens. And I hate saying that. And I hate waiting on the Glazers, those fucking rats, because they really are kind of holding us hostage right now. Again, I'm optimistic. I think the tide is going to turn. I think we're on the up, whether or not we're with the Glazers, because we have Ten Hag at the helm. Another season with Ten Hag at the reins makes me feel pretty good because I know that he is the man to do the job. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, Chelsea on Thursday, Fulham on Sunday, and then City in the FA Cup final a week later. We'll be at O'Brien's Pub watching the match, so come join us if you're around. And that's going to do it for me. I'm sure we'll hear from some of the other lads later this week, Casey and all that. So, yeah, guys, happy Monday. Up the Reds. Glazers fucking out.